Okay, so my name's Paul Greenwood. I'm Managing Director of Black Marketing. We're actually a global company, so my CEO, Chris Reed, who pops up in this presentation a couple of times, is based in Singapore. He's got 19,000 LinkedIn connections. He's in the top 1%, and he really built the brand and the company from what he's learned over the last sort of 12 to 18 months to actually sort of grow your network. What I'm actually going to go through today, it's part of a 3-hour presentation, but I've condensed it into 20 minutes. I usually take teams at companies through the 3-hour workshop. They would sit with a laptop in front of them, would go through practical exercises, so they'd be updating their personal profile, their company profile, and also learning a little bit how to win business on LinkedIn, which is kind of the core use of our services. So this presentation today, there's 4 very simple things I want to take you through. It's all about personal branding, it's about company branding, it's about content marketing, and it's about how you use those 3, how you optimize those 3 to ultimately win business on LinkedIn. Just before I dive into that, LinkedIn is the 3rd biggest social media network in the world. Obviously Facebook and Twitter are the biggest 2. But from a professional networking perspective, it's the biggest. People tend to kind of lump it in with Twitter and Facebook and use it the same. So we'll often come across clients that have got holiday photos on there. They're talking about their social life, what they're doing down the pub. This is actually your professional brand. It's how you are perceived to other professionals, whether that is from a talent acquisition point of view or from the head of a business organisation point of view. So it's really important that LinkedIn remains your sort of professional network rather than anything that's going on in your social life. Just before I dive into the personal profile, hands up if you've got a LinkedIn account. That's pretty much everyone, that's good. Keep your hands up if you've got a premium account. Okay, a few people with premium accounts. Of the people that have got premium accounts, have you ever won business through that premium account? Good, good. The first bit is about personal profile, and I think this is probably the most recognisable area for most people, and you will have spent time in it, or hopefully you will have spent time in it, actually looking at the various pieces of the jigsaw that go to make up the perfect profile. And I think it's a really simple concept, but you've really got to think about your personal profile in the way that you view SEO. It's all about being optimised. It's all about what can you do to your profile to make you actually float to the top of searches. So whether that is from a personal point of view or a company point of view. LinkedIn is really a tool now where various people that are looking for businesses to connect with or do business with will start rather than the website, because they want to see what you're about as a person that leads an organisation. They want to see what the organisation is about, how much of a fit it is for the business that they potentially want to sell into you. So the things that go on your profile, and the one that stands out and the one that I've got to be in my bonnet the most about is the photo. There's still a lot of people on LinkedIn who don't have a photo. And the great thing about LinkedIn, everything is trackable, and there's a lot of statistics being bandied around. But if you don't have a photo on LinkedIn, you're 18 times less likely to be clicked on than if you have got a photo. So if you think about that from somebody who might be doing a search term based on the key skills that maybe you have or your company have, and you're somewhere near the top of those rankings, but you haven't got a photo, you're not going to be clicked on. So really the business opportunity is gone. I met with who is somebody who's gone on to be a client earlier in the week, and he is a senior divisional director in a global company, fairly big company, and he's got a global remit. And we put his account up there. He had no photo, he had 23 connections, and this is somebody with 40 years of experience. So it's all about how are you going to be perceived if somebody clicks on you. And I think the way that LinkedIn has kind of developed over the last sort of 3 to 5 years is it's really been perceived as really being an online CV service, and that's the first sort of industry that has been drastically changed through LinkedIn. If you want to find a job or you want to get found for a job now, it's really through LinkedIn. All the HR agencies, they pay for a tool on LinkedIn, £100 a month, and that's how they find candidates. It's very rare now to go outside LinkedIn to actually find a job. The next sort of area that people are then looking at is the whole sort of B2B aspect. How can you leverage your network, your company's network, your own brand profile, the company's brand profile, to actually gain business. That is our CEO. I've already mentioned about photos increase engagement. There's lots of little things that you can do with your personal profile to make it a more engaging profile. And by making it a more engaging profile, you're optimizing it at the same time. And again, it comes back to if somebody is searching for you or your company or the skills that your company offers, it's all about where you're going to appear in those search rankings. An interesting quirk about LinkedIn is the more you are optimized on LinkedIn, actually the more optimized you will appear on Google. So there was a point in the past, things have changed now, but Chris, our CEO, if you typed in LinkedIn on Google or you typed it in on LinkedIn, he would actually rank higher than some of the senior LinkedIn employees because he'd optimized his profile so much. Fortunately, LinkedIn changed some algorithm, Google changed their algorithms as they do, and he doesn't rank as high, but he still comes on the first page. So we know that there's a lot of spend that goes into, especially keyword searches on Google, and this is a way that you can actually optimize not only yourself but your company. Things like background images. It seems something small, but again, it's a way of making your profile more engaging and more optimized. Another really important thing is if you look at what you do, what business you're in, think about how you will look when you're searched and you come up in a list. All somebody's going to see is they're going to see your photo, they're going to see your name, and they're going to see what you actually do. So if you look for somebody and it just says they're CEO of some generic company, it doesn't actually say in that descriptor what you do, you're probably going to lose an opportunity because they're, before you know it, they've skipped on to the next person. So again, it's all about how can you optimize what you have on your personal profile. Again, another underutilized part of personal profiles is you can put visual content in there. So if you've got case studies, if you've got frequently asked questions about your business, putting those on the profile will actually increase its optimization. Again, it's a more engaged profile than somebody who's just got flat writing. You can also put visual profiles in for each job you've had. And again, it sounds simple, but somebody who just has, again, a copy of their CV on there is a lot less engaged than somebody who will actually have visual content, whether that links through to certain web pages or whether it actually carries content pertinent to the job you've been doing. Recommendations. This is increasingly becoming one of the areas that is most important, especially when winning business-to-business marketing. What you'll find is, especially where you're in a sort of client-facing environment, when you go to pitch for work, they're going to go look at your profile. They're going to go look at the people that have recommended you. So the more recommendations you can have on your profile, the better. It's kind of done in a quid pro quo manner these days in that, hey, I'll tell you what, you give me a really good recommendation, I'll give you one. But the really important thing from companies that win business is you must go get a recommendation from somebody that you're actually doing business for. Groups. Who is members of groups? It's such an underutilized area on LinkedIn, and I think the really important thing to think about groups is, one, you can join 50 for free, and there's over 1 million groups on LinkedIn. They can be very broad brush groups in that, B2B marketing, I think it's got about 1 million members, or it can be really small, tight-knit specialist groups that cater for really niche areas and niche products. What you need to remember about these groups is it's potentially people outside your network that could be a potential customer. So if you are posting relevant content in there, relevant things about your company, case studies about your company, it's potentially getting to chief marketing officers, for example, which will be a distant group on LinkedIn. Very underutilized, and like I said, there's over 1 million groups. If you spend time looking at what are the top 50 groups in terms of target markets and eyeballs, you can really get to meet some interesting people for free. Because that's the other thing about groups, you can potentially connect to people in there and message them for free, which I'll come on to a bit later. What will happen if you become optimized is you will come at the top of searches, and that's kind of the LinkedIn game. The thing about LinkedIn is they're often changing things. So you might be top under certain search words today, tomorrow you might not be, and you've got to find out what has changed in order to go and re-optimize part of your profile. It's probably the most difficult aspect of our job because we've got to keep on top on top of the constant changing. LinkedIn are always introducing new products, and again, we get clients. I got asked yesterday, "Oh, really, shouldn't we be using this product that's just been introduced?" And it's very easy to burn money on LinkedIn and not show any results for it. So, part of our job is to go off and actually work with a new product. Is it any more effective than any of the other Sales Navigator products that are in their portfolio? But as you become optimized, your views will increase. The more views you get, the more engaged community you'll be dealing with. The more engaged community you've got, the more you grow your connections, the more likely it is you will win new business on LinkedIn. That's kind of the personal branding stuff, and it's we work with a lot of, our sort of sweet spot is really CEOs, entrepreneurs, MDs, people that really want to raise their brand profile because it's important to them, and the fact that they're raising their brand profile is important to their company. So we will work with some people, and that is their specific KPI. It's all about profile. In terms of company pages, slightly different beast. For those people that, obviously we all work for a company, but does everybody have a company page on LinkedIn? Yeah. Again, it's one of the areas that people seem to really miss in terms of an opportunity, because when somebody goes to LinkedIn and they're looking for you or your company, they're going to put your company in as a search term. What's likely to come up are people that work at that company or the company page itself. Now, the company page itself, the pages that are out there at the moment, it's usually a really flat representation of what their website is. So it'll be a little bit of blurb, maybe a graphic, some contact details, and that's it. They just leave it at that. And there's a real opportunity within the company page setup, and it's great because you don't have to have any technical expertise. You don't have to have any sort of web insight. I can put a brand page together, so if I can do it, anybody can do it, believe me. And it's what we call the showcase pages. Now, what a showcase page is it allows you to communicate your key services within your company page. And the beauty of creating showcase pages is it's something that can live and breathe on other areas of LinkedIn. So, for example, this particular showcase page is a personal branding page. So we would typically post this as a piece of content into groups where we know people are looking for personal branding. So it would be the entrepreneurs networks, it would be the CEOs networks, and it just allows you to not only raise the profile of your company, but what your company actually does, with a view to it being pertinent for that particular target audience. Now, if we did a showcase page that was more about company branding, we would maybe go look at company directors and a different target audience, but it allows you to stretch your company and the sort of services that it offers into many different areas to potentially get new eyeballs, to drive connections. That's what it's all about. It's about increasing your network to drive business. That's just an example of how you then go and share it in a group. And the real good thing about LinkedIn as well is everything you do is measurable. So you'll be able to tell how many impressions that article actually got, how many people clicked on it, how many interactions. An interaction is usually a like or a comment. What you really want to do is drive as many interactions as possible, because it then gives you an in to go link with a new person. And it's about, hey, you commented or you liked my article about what we do. It'd be great to connect and discuss further. And that's how you grow your connections organically. Our CEO's got 19,000 connections. He often gets asked, well, can't you just do something that gives me another 15,000 connections and makes me really connected? And it's not. It's things like this that we do on a daily basis, with articles, with the content that we push around that's getting our profile raised, that gets people clicking, that gets people commenting. There's no real silver bullet from going from 200 connections to 2,000 connections. It's really manual hard work that gets you there. And then the other thing you can do is every single bit of content that you post into LinkedIn can be analysed for its effectiveness. So you might post some brand showcase pages, and you might do it in several different groups. You will automatically be able to get a feel for what content is actually engaging with the relevant people. And then you start to tailor that message. So you might find that a lot of our brand profile stuff, actually, it does work best when we're speaking to entrepreneurs and CEOs. So therefore, we'll tailor a lot more comment to that sort of target. But again, it's the beauty of everything within LinkedIn is trackable. And, and our metrics really are down to the engagement metrics. And we will sit with We'll sit with clients who want to evangelize content about their company and what it does, and we'll see how it's resonated with various groups. And that's how you kind of set your KPIs of success, if you like. The third bit, and this really follows, it's kind of the opposite from the personal and the company, because that is all about people finding you. So if you're really optimized on a personal level and on a company level, you will rise to the top of the rankings. That's how it all works. The other side of LinkedIn is how do you make people interact with you on a proactive basis? And it's all around content marketing plan, because it's great having optimized personal pages, it's great having optimized company pages, but how can you actually get out there and evangelize something about what you stand for? And this is actually the LinkedIn advice on strategy, and they call it a 4-1-1 strategy. And for those that spend quite a bit of time on LinkedIn, this is the content that you will see through feeds on a regular basis. And what they tend to say is, for every 4 pieces of general industry news that's put around the network, you should go with 1 hard sell and 1 soft sell. The holistic stuff is, what are you and your business in? What is its business? So rather than it being, oh, Madonna fell over at the Brits, which that's a very much a Facebook type thing, it should be, if you're in business-to-business marketing, what within business-to-business is your particular niche? So what should you be commenting on? What should you be sending around your network to show, hey, these people know what they're talking about in this sector, and they've also got an opinion on it. So it's general things that come through from my news feeds. So it might be interesting articles that come into The Guardian, for example. It might be things that are put on the drum that are pertinent to, my particular sweet spots are going to be B2B marketing, it's going to be entrepreneurs and CEOs, it's going to be digital marketing, it's going to be social media. So I constantly have stream of news around that because it associates me as a brand with that sort of area. The hard sell is really, it's really your brand showcase pages. So you kind of tease your audience with, this is the sort of sector I'm in, and then you hit them with and actually, this is what we do. We're a brand marketing agency, and we offer company brand profiles as a service. Soft sell is the most difficult one, and some people it comes very natural. Others, like me, I've had to really work on this area, and it's basically your blogging. And it's about developing a style of blogging that is suited to the business world. So it's not, what I did down the pub last night. It's more, how can I take something that is happening here and now that is relevant to my particular network and actually put my own spin on it. Good examples with this were a client that we've just taken on. They want both their strategy director and their managing director to be have a personal profile and actually manage on a proactive basis. The strategy director, he's very much about, okay, I want to be commenting on what I think drives strategy at a B2B marketing company. So he's stuck very much to what his job is, and he's going to put his own spin. And that will actually tell you a bit about the company itself and where they sit on certain things within that sector. She's taken a very different approach. She wants to be positioned as, because she's a managing director of a fairly sizable B2B organisation, she wants to take the women in business approach. She will write from I am a woman that is managing a business, and that will be her slant. That's great for us because it's 2 very different perspectives that we can categorise as soft sell. My own personal stuff, I tend to just pick something that I found interesting in the week and try and write 500 or 600 words about it. I'm not a natural writer, and I think you've got to really find your own style to be able to carry this off. When we ghostwrite blogs for clients, what usually happens is we take a brief, we send something back. What comes back is about 80% of what we sent them. So they put their own spin. You've got to imagine it coming out of your own mouth. The first ghost blog that was written for me had far too many big words, and I was like, nobody will ever think I say that. But my last blog was about Apple, and it's moving into possibly creating a car. So I commented and said, is Apple going to be the next Virgin? How much can you stretch this brand? It's something interesting to me because I'm interested in tech, but it's also pertinent to the sort of services that we offer. And then the idea is, So Chris wrote an article that got a lot of eyeballs, and it was all about the fact that he really only needs Starbucks to run his business because it's got free Wi-Fi and coffee on tap, and he spends his time basically out on the road meeting clients, and then in between he goes to Starbucks. That was the sort of theme, and he went and posted this in the entrepreneurship and small business. As you can see, it's got 2.6 million people that actually follow the stories. So again, because it's quite core to us and what we offer, that's 2.6 million potential new clients that we could be speaking to. And his engagement was good. He got 376 likes, which is pretty good. He got 122 comments. I did notice that he did one yesterday, and there's certain subjects we said just stay clear of: religion, politics. I'd add football to that after the last one that Chris wrote yesterday, because he has got some spiky comments back, and it was all about, can Chelsea really be a global brand? And I warned him at the time, but he didn't listen. The other thing about content is it's all about becoming what we call a thought leader and a top contributor. And again, it's about visibility of brand and visibility of companies. And as you can see in this particular room, it's the digital marketing room. So again, very pertinent to what we offer as a service. It's got 600,000 members, and Chris is one of the top contributors. And he's a top contributor because he will regularly post in that room relevant and worthwhile content, because it often goes through a vetting process. So you can't just go in there and go, I'll post any old rubbish to get to rise to the top and be a top contributor. So that particular room will actually have somebody that sits there, vets the articles, and then posts them if they're relevant. But as you can see, he's a top contributor, and you will always sit in these top floor slots if you're a top contributor. Benefit being, obviously, you're very visible, and what company you work for and what you do is visible. Again, you can analyse anything that you do on LinkedIn, both from a first network point of view and also your secondary network and third network. You get to your secondary network by using the groups cleverly, because obviously there'll be a lot of people in there that are not within your first network and won't necessarily see your postings that go on the front page. So you've got to think about it from a group perspective as well. So if you've got a great personal brand, you've got a great company brand profile, and you're evangelizing content using that strategy, that's where you can then maximize the use of emails. Has anybody ever used Sales Navigator and emails to great effect? Okay, good. Okay, what are emails? They're basically, it's an email. LinkedIn calls them an email, but it's in essence, it's the same. What you use emails for are potentially connecting with people that are outside your network. So as you can see, this is actually, it was a client in Singapore, and they really wanted to do business with Nike. They gave us Nike as a target brand, so we had to go off and work out who were the right people, who were the right decision makers, who were the budget holders within Nike in that particular region for us to connect to. And this was the guy that came out. What you do is you use a very powerful tool called Sales Navigator. It's both very powerful, but can be very expensive, because if you use it wrong, before you know it, you've burnt off all your emails and you've got no value to show for it. It's a premium service that LinkedIn offer. It varies between £80 and £150 a month. And for that, you're actually buying in-mails to actually connect to people outside your network. You buy between 15 and 30, depending on the package that you buy. But if you think about it from the traditional B2B email marketing was really, let's go buy a list of 100,000 people and just send an email out, and we'll play it on a numbers game, we'll get point whatever response rate. This is exactly the opposite. LinkedIn are very careful that they don't want this to become a spam tool, hence why they only give you 15 to 30 opportunities per month to actually connect to people outside your network. The beauty of the tool is you can actually hone down to end level of granularity in terms of the people that you want to connect to. So when I'm using this tool, I will be targeting mainly people in the London area. We usually target owner, chief executive officer, company size, probably 1 through to 200, because that's our sweet spot, which means small to medium-sized enterprises. And then we go off and we look at the various industries. So we usually stick to marketing, financial, management consultants, training and coaching. They're kind of our core at the moment. What it does, it then spits you off a list of people that fit that criteria. And really the smaller the list, the better, because it means you're getting closer and closer to the sweet spot in terms of people that you want to connect with. The beauty of the list that then gets split off is the more optimized people, so the more people that are more engaged with LinkedIn will be at the top. So our rule of thumb is when we get our lists, we go through them. If they're a premium customer, great. If they've got more than 500 connections, great. And there's one other thing that I can't quite remember, but there's 3 things we look for. And we will start targeting those people because they're more likely to respond to an email. The trick with Sales Navigator is it's all about eliciting a response. Whether that's negative or positive, it doesn't matter. It's all about eliciting that response. So on a Monday morning, the first time you use the Sales Navigator, you can send off your 30 leads with your beautifully crafted, personalised emails to these 30 people. If it's a really bad introduction and you get no response, that's it, your 30 emails are gone until the next month. If you get people coming back going, yeah, great, I'd love to learn more, they've kind of accepted that invite, they've accepted the email, and you get that email back the following month. Great. LinkedIn recently changed this to actually make a negative response actually positive to you, which sounds a bit strange, but if I email somebody and they go, actually, I'm not interested, that's still a response, that's still good news because you get your email back. So if you're really clever with this tool, by the time you get to month 2, you'll get your 30 emails back, plus you'll get all the ones back returned from positive or negative responses. So it's all about eliciting a response. We operate this for ourselves to find clients. We run this program for other clients. And again, it depends who you want to be targeting, what organizations, and then the real skill is then crafting, almost back to the basics of email marketing. What should be your subject matter? What should be the body content within that email? But we've kind of got it to a place now where if you've got a good personal optimized profile, because these people are probably going to go look at you straight away when you've got your email. If you've got a good company profile, and if you're being proactive on LinkedIn with the content, then we've got the response down to a third are usually positive, in that they want to learn a bit more about your business, which is great. A third are usually negative, which actually in the new world is good because you're getting your email back, you're getting your value back. And then a third are usually, this is interesting, let's connect and maybe talk 2 or 3 months down the line. So that's the kind of success metric we've managed to get this tool into. When I first started at the company, Chris, to prove a point to me, he said, go off and have a fiddle with that and send 30 emails out and see how you get on. I burnt them off within an hour. I got no responses. So that was kind of to prove to me that it's a tool that, like I say, the more you put in and the more knowledge you put in, the more responsive you're going to get on the other end. What you also can do with this particular tool is you can save a search term. So I will often have entrepreneurs in London, 1 to 50 size of employee, and I will have that as a saved list. I'll go through it once. The following week, depending on who I've connected to in that week, it will actually say, do you know what, there's another 5 people that meet that criteria based on the people that you've connected with in the week. So again, it becomes a positive benefit of organically growing your connections. The other thing about in-mails, and this is kind of we're wondering whether LinkedIn's going to close this loophole because it's very lucrative and it's free. And it's the fact that if you share a group with another particular individual, you can contact them for free. It won't cost you an email. And if you go into, I think this is the APAC marketing group, you can actually, under the people, there's a little thing that says send message. It pops this box up, and you can actually make an introduction without going through Sales Navigator, paying for the premium service. It's kind of something you can bend the rules onto your own advantage. For example, if I find somebody that I need to connect to, I often go and look at what groups he's in. If he's not in a group that I'm in, I go join that group. It just means I can talk to that person for free. So again, it might be a loophole that they close, but it's something it gives you common ground, because you can your introduction in the email can say, I'm contacting you because we're both part of the APAC marketing group. We often find that's all that somebody needs in order to say, okay, well, we've got a link. I'm much more likely to get back to you. So in summary, and this is kind of the company mantra, the more you put into LinkedIn, the more you're going to get out of it. We manage lots of personal and company profiles, and we probably spend, on somebody that takes out one of our packages, we probably spend 15 to 18 hours a week just on that individual person and his company and running the sales navigator stuff. It's kind of a tool in that it's not. It's still a very manual environment, and that's why you've really got to put the man hours in order to get the benefit back. But if you create a compelling engagement personal profile and a company profile, and you get a good content marketing plan and push it out there, you will win business through LinkedIn. If you haven't got time to do it yourself, then of course you can employ me to do it for you. It's my services. And that's it. So that wasn't too in-depth. Like I say, that's usually a 3-hour workshop where we go through practical examples, and by the end of it, somebody will have optimized their personal profile, they will have a company profile, we will have created content, and we will have pushed out some emails and got a B2B marketing program started. So they're my details. If anybody would like to get in touch,